Hello, and welcome to Judy's Creations in Crochet. And today is April the 11th, 2024. How to think about that? I kind of get lost in my days and months, so I have to give it a second thought. I'm coming to you, for those that are fairly new, I'm coming to you from southwestern Ontario in Canada. And my focus is on showing finished objects and projects I'm working on, as well as showing new yarn. And I would say I focus on hand-dyed yarn. And at the moment, I am really focusing on Canadian indie dyers. At one time, I bought from all over, particularly in the U.S., because there are so many wonderful indie dyers in the U.S. But our Canadian dollar has kind of tanked, and the exchange rate is just so horrible that I'm focusing, until this exchange gets better, I'm focusing on Canadian dyers, and I'm learning that there are a lot of quality Canadian indie dyers. So there's no shortage of companies to tell you about. But also this year, I have decided that, because, what's behind me, what you see, is strictly from Expression Fiber Arts. And it's just the tip of the iceberg in the amount of yarn that I have. So I've decided that this year for sure, and I may continue it, I am really going to work at shopping my stash. So monthly, I do an update on the stash down hashtag. I did that last week, and trying not to buy too much yarn. And I've been very good at not buying very much yarn, but I do have a couple of Canadian yarn box subscriptions, and that's one of the things we're going to talk about today, is to give you an update on what I've received. I've finally settled on 3 Canadian hand dyers that have a subscription box. Whether I will continue all 3 of them for the whole year, I don't know. But they, 2 of them are an automatic. The other one I have to remember to buy from her. But that's the one of the 3 that I think I like the best. But we'll talk more about that in a few minutes. What we want to, what I always start with is, what am I wearing? Well, today I felt like wearing something colorful. So I went in my drawer and had a look for something. This is obviously been made quite some time ago, and I don't remember. I thought I knew the pattern, and I went and looked it up, and it wasn't what I thought it was. And I have made 2 of these in the past, both with a color changing merino yarn. It isn't very often that you get merino in a color changing or gradient type cake. And I'm not even remembering where I got it, but the other one had more rainbow, reds, yellows, and greens in it. This one had my kind of colors in it, so I kept this one. And it looks a lot like, something like a dragon's tooth, but which one it is, I'm sorry, I can't tell you. If I happen to come across the name of it before I post this video, I'll try to put it in the description box below. So anyway, that's what I'm wearing, and it really is very soft and comfortable. A merino cake. It must have, well, maybe it's 100% merino. I'm not really sure if there's nylon in it or not. But anyway, this has been made well before I even started my YouTube channel, and here we are at 2.5 years. So that's what I'm wearing from my own personal stash of items. Now, I don't have any real finished objects to show you. but I did finish something last week, and I said I would show it to you this week after I had blocked it. So this is the item that I had finished last week. It is called the Starlight Shawl. I will, any yarn companies and any patterns I talk about will always be found in the description box below. So this is the Starlight Shawl by Rachel Nguyen. I'm going to take it off because although I showed it to you last week finished, I blocked it after that. And I was amazed, I mean really amazed at how much it grew. And can you see in the bottom section, can you see the beads? I don't know how well the beads are to me. Oh yeah, I can see the beads. There are only 3 rows at the very beginning, in the middle, and near the end. And this was the one that you helped me pick the yarn. And I'm ever so grateful I went on to work on this pattern with this particular yarn to match the this variegated yarn. This yarn in here is no, did I use the crema sock? Or did I? No, yes, I did use the crema sock from Expression Fiber Arts, and I'll put it in below. And this one is a yarn from Arcane Fibers. Both very nice to work with, both feel great, and I'm amazed both block out. I'm sure it grew, you know, at least this much extra after I blocked it. So I didn't think it was a very big shawl. Now it is. It is a really big shawl. So that turned out quite nice. And that one is going to stay, I think it's going to stay in my collection, just because it's the first one I ever did with beads. And I want to have one with beads. So that's the one finished object I can show you, but it was from last week. Now, I did finish, I'm going to come up here a little closer to the table so I can reach things. I did technically finish something this week, but I can't show it to you. I'll only just flash it. Here is the yarn. You'll recognize the yarn. It is the yarn that I selected to go to match our bird of the month. And here it is, my finished object, which I'm not going to show you for a couple more weeks. And that yarn is by Created for You by Laura. And I'm using a 3.5 millimeter hook. And the item is finished, but I'm not going to say anything more about it until it's time to show you at the end of the month. So technically, I finished one thing, and I was working on something else that I showed you last week, a work in progress, and I actually put it aside and picked that up to do, because the other one, which I'll show you in just a second, the other one, it just wasn't, somehow, you know how you have a feeling about you're enjoying doing something? I enjoyed working on that one. There's a story behind that one too. But this other one, I just wasn't feeling it. Not that I don't like it. It's going to be a pretty shawl. And it's not overly hard. I just wasn't feeling it, and I wanted a break, so I said, I'm putting it aside. I'm going to work on that. Then I will come back to this. And this is a shawl where I had shown you the two, whoops, we just had a little bit of an accident there. I had shown you the 2 yarns I wanted to use, and I was trying to decide on a third one, and you all gave me your input. And in the end, I decided it needed a little something as a pick-me-up, so I decided to include this one. Now, when you're looking at them caked up side by side, they look just like what I wanted them to look like. But you know, when you work with them, they don't always look quite the same. Okay, where did my, oh, there it is. Here is the hook I'm using. It's a number 4 furrows, and I'm working on the Expression Fiber Arts shawl pattern called Keone, I believe is how it's pronounced. Now, I may go back to it and do it right away, or I may do something else that I'll talk about a little bit later. But here is my progress to date, and I have to tell you that, I don't know, the color I chose, although it looked like it would work good, to me, looks a little too bright. Now, my friend says she thinks it looks great. So you can give me your opinion if you wish. I'm going to finish it for sure. But this is the pattern so far. Whoops, got some yarn tangled. So this is how it's working up. And it has, besides the first section, it has 3 parts. Each of these 3 colors has a different stitch, and that is repeated 3 times. So I've finished one section, and I've done color A of the next section of 3, and it will get bigger and bigger. So that is what I'm working on, and I'm using some of them I don't know the colors of because it came in a kit and they aren't named individually. But this one, is this it here? Nope. Must have it upstairs, the name of it. No, just a minute. Maybe this is it. Winter Comfort. I think this one is called Winter Comfort. They are all Oasis fingering. I absolutely love Oasis fingering. They are 50% camel and 50% silk. It feels wonderful. It is a little thinner than some fingerings, and it has great drape, even though I'm using a number 4. Some people would use a bigger hook to get more drape, but I'm happy with this. So I'm working on it. Maybe I'll have it done for next week, but I won't swear to it because I think I'm going to get sidetracked again. But we'll see how it goes. But at least you can see how those colors go together. I guess it's not too bad, these 2, but that other one seems so pale with those 2. But it is what it is. And that's what I have been working on. You can see the progress. Last week, I only had this and part of, I don't think I had all of that done. So I have gone a fair bit since last week. Oh, I just remembered, I did have one other finished project this week, but it was a diamond painting. And it's a diamond painting that I am sending to someone, I'm gifting to someone, and that someone watches my channel, so I did not want to show it. Maybe she'll show it on her channel, I don't know, but I did not want to show it as it is a surprise for someone. All right, so let's get into what we were going to talk about today. All right, so I want to move on. I have 2 main things I want to talk to you about today. And I probably mentioned it more than once, but I know last week I mentioned for sure that I wanted to talk about and show you the monthly yarn subscriptions that I have subscribed to. And I had to wait so long because I waited a long time for this 3rd one to arrive. I guess when I signed up, I was too late to get that month, so I had to wait till the next month. and then they ship very late in the month, so I didn't get it till the following month. But about just over a week ago, I finally received my first installment, and I've already paid for the second one. I paid for the second one before my first one even arrived. But I really wanted to show you the subscriptions that I'm getting and talk about them a little bit, do a bit of a comparison. Now, the third one I can't say a lot about yet because I've only received 1 month. But I'll start with that company. It's the last, actually, subscribers told me about 2 companies sort of in the West that do subscription boxes, and I went and looked at them both, and I ended up getting this one because the other one, whose name I can't remember at the moment, oh yes, I know, their shipping was really quite high. If you ordered a fair bit, it would be fine. But for one single skein, I don't want to order a bunch till I know. For one single skein, I think the shipping was almost, not quite, as much as the skein of yarn. So that wasn't worth it. So here's the first one I want to talk about. Now, like a lot of them, she sends it vacuum packed. And so, of course, I don't have it wound up. Okay, here we go. This is from a company called Allison Barnes Yarn. And I'm thinking she's in Alberta. Most of them, there's an awful lot of yarn dyers in Alberta, so I have to think she's in Alberta. And this is her what they call, we get a sock set, and this is the March one, and it's 80% superwash merino and 20% nylon, and there are 420 yards in the 100 grams. But there's the company name, Allison Barnes, and here is my yarn. Now, this is a smaller loop than usual, so it's a little bit thicker. So not too many colors. It's quite pretty. It feels plump. It's a plumper feeling fingering weight. I don't have others here to show you to compare, but it just feels nice and plump and squishy. And it came with a mini. Now, I wouldn't exactly say the mini, it's not the same color, although there are touches of that color of pink in there. So maybe it would go with it. I don't do socks, as you know, which most of these minis are really meant for. So I save up the minis and I do something with them eventually. I have a couple of ideas rolling around in my head. I actually would like to do a blanket, surprise, surprise, because I'm not into blankets. But I have 2 thoughts about a blanket I'd like to do just for myself. So anyway, this is from Allison Barnes. It is very nice feeling, very squishy. It is my first time getting it. I will get it for probably 3 months before I make up my mind whether to continue it or not. It will depend on the kinds of, nothing wrong with the yarn, and we're always going to get the same kind of yarn. It will depend on the kinds of colors she sends. If they're nice colors that I will use, I'll keep it going. But if you tend to get a bunch of colors that are not, that don't appeal to me, then I won't keep it going. So I will try to hang that up in a little bit and put it away for now. All right. The second one I subscribed to, and you have seen it, and I got out all of the ones I've received so you can get a feel for what's happening. And again, it comes vacuum packed, and this is from Fireweed. Now, Fireweed is in Winnipeg, Manitoba. And I've had others. I made a scarf with tweed. It wasn't this color of tweed, it was purple, but I made it not too long ago in a purple tweed, and that came from Fireweed. And I have another skein here I can hardly wait to use, but I don't know what I'm going to make with it. But anyway, Fireweed is in Winnipeg, Manitoba. And again, oh, this is 80% merino, 10% cashmere, and 10% nylon. And if I am, also it says it's using ethically sourced wool, which is good to know. Now I will always get the same base, and I think I've told you before, all of these yarns this year are going to be based on something from the Ally McBeal show, and I don't understand any of the comments, but I guess this is a comment made in the show. You would know. I don't get the references. But as I've told you in the past, it does feel, well, almost the same as the last one, although there is a difference. The last one has a bit of texture in the plies. This one doesn't, which always makes me happier. I don't like getting the texture of the plies. Now let me get a hold of this. So one thing when they come like this, you have to be careful how you grab them so that it stays, because caking them can be a problem if you don't get it picked up in the right way so that the strands are going where they're supposed to go. I have a feeling this may be one I will have to cake up manually. But here is the yarn I got this time. Again, it feels nice and squishy. Yeah, really feels good. Well, this one has a little bit of cashmere in it, whereas the other one doesn't. So yeah, this feels good. And I really like the colors in this. This is the kind of yarn that I think I would take this as kind of a main color base in a project, and then maybe get some minis that have this nice bright blue or this teal or this purple color, and put them with it. Do a shawl or something that has rows of these other colors. I really like the colors in this. Now, this is my third month getting it, January, February, March. I got onto this one early enough to get in at the beginning of the year. So this is the first one. This was January, the blue one, and this was February. And again, they all feel lovely and squishy. I think I like this latest one the best. You know, I could maybe put these two together if people put two variegateds together, although it's not real variegated, it's more speckled. Now there is an option to put these two together and see what happens. I don't know. But this one so far I'm quite happy with. I love the feel of it. I have liked all of the colors so far. The only thing I don't like about this one is because it's vacuum sealed, and she doesn't, like some people when they vacuum seal it, they have it separated so well, and like this, that you can pull out the strands. Now that one seems to be okay there now. So I'm going to have to hank this up and put that on it. That might help keep it better. But I am really, really happy with this. I want to mention one other thing, and that is that I can't tell you exactly the price because I don't have it in front of you, but I seem to recall that all of these are right around the one of them was 43. I think one might have been 45. If the third company, if I get the cheaper yarn, the cheaper base, it might even be 39, but they're all in the very low $40 range. So I am getting, I'm talking Canadian funds now. If you're in the US, it's going to be cheaper for you. But I'm getting all three of these, and one comes with a mini, and I'm getting all three for the price of the two that I was getting last year from Arkansas Fibers. Now I'm disappointed, not in Arkansas Fibers. It's not their fault. It's the stupid Canadian exchange, plus shipping, of course. I really would have liked to have gotten theirs this year because they're doing tonals that will go with the speckles we got last year. And I would really love to be getting them. But with that company, you pay for all the little extras, and then you have the exchange, and I'm getting three for the price of two. So I will stay with this. But anyway, I am very, very happy with these. And I will definitely be continuing getting them. They haven't been coming up with colors I don't like. So that's about Fireweed. I have to get this in a hank. So we'll get that out of the way for now. I have a spot where I'm saving all of the Fireweed yarn. Okay, and here is the third company. And I'm thinking I heard a couple of my subscribers are also getting her yarn. Maybe they're not getting the mystery. Maybe they're just getting some yarn from her. She has, she's on Etsy. Again, these other two have their own. Fireweed is on Etsy as well. But Allison Barnes, it has their own website. Again, everything will be linked below. This is on Etsy, and because it's on, well, Fireweed has to have their own website because they're doing it automatic. On Etsy, you can't do an automatic renewal. So, but I'm sure I got Fireweed. They may have both Etsy and their own site. And if they have their own site, that's where you should go, because then they don't have to pay, a commission to Etsy. Anyway, this one I have to remember to go back every month and get it. Not that I have a problem remembering that, because I'm always anxious for the next month. Now, I actually joined this one in December, so I have more to show from them than the others. I have December, January, February, March, and guess what? I already have April, and I ordered it. I think I ordered it on, maybe on the weekend. I may have ordered it on the weekend, but still it came very, very fast this time. She is in Quebec. And what I was starting to say is, if you go and look at her on Etsy, her name is Color of My Fiber. And Barbara is very good to work with. I've corresponded with her multiple times, and she even gifted me a free skein of yarn. What I want to tell you is, if you go on her page or her store on Etsy, I think she has something like 500 listings. She has a really wide selection of colors and a big selection of bases. Therefore, would appeal to everybody. There's something there for everybody to enjoy. So anyway, I'm going to start by showing you, well, if any of you are getting the mystery box from her each month, I guess I'm going to put in a spoiler alert here. If you do not want to see what you're getting for April, speed ahead or turn your head or something. Now this month I ordered the Merino Cashmere Nylon. That's the beauty of ordering it yourself every month. She has several bases to choose from, and you can choose whichever base you want. And I think I'm going to show you all the ones I've gotten so far, and you're going to see I've gotten a variety of bases. And that was a nice thing. I wanted to compare them all, but I think I'm going to settle on one or two of them. So merino nylon, and here is her, it's called Lime. Here is this month. Now, if you just said lime, I wouldn't order it, but I really, really like this melody of greens. That's what it says to me. It's a beautiful mixture of lime greens with dark greens. And I think this is going to be beautiful when it's worked up. And it also has enough variety in the greens that I could pick maybe another solid green to put with it. Is this where I have my green? Yeah, I can't reach in there at the moment. But I do have a number of solid greens or tonals, and I could put something green with that almost any color of green. And it feels lovely, as it always does. Now, generally, if I order one, it comes vacuum sealed, vacuum packed like all the others. But this month, there was one I have been looking at for a long, long, long time. And I said, you know, I thought I was not going to get this and I would get that instead this month. And then when I was making the order, I said, oh, go ahead. You want to see what the color is for the month. And then there was something else I saw that I had put away a long time ago. And I just decided to order all three of them. So they came hanked up. I'm not going to show you the other two yarns I got from her. I'll wait for next week, and next week I will do a yarn acquisition. I wanted to only talk about yarn subscriptions this month. So what do you think? Isn't that beautiful? Yeah, I wish I had another dark green here to pull out to put with it. But I have to say I am quite happy with it. And of course, it feels wonderful. So that's this month, but I want to show you what I've gotten in the past months. And it's all a mystery. You don't get to choose color, only the base. And I have to say, she has never once hit my special colorway, and yet I've not been disappointed. Any month I have enjoyed everything she has sent, and will, I'm sure, use them all. There's only one but that was my doing. Anyway, here is last month. It is called Chairlift, and it's greens as well, but it's more to the creamy colors, softer green. That's March. Then in February, we got one with a lot of speckling and a very, very creamy, it's called Secret Garden Pink. Secret Garden Pink. She must have others with other colors. Now, this is merino cashmere nylon. This one is merino yak and silk. This one is, I think, just merino and nylon. Keep going. Then in January, this is February, March, April. In January, we got something totally different. And this is, it's called Cozy Bed, and it's merino cashmere silk. You can tell it's a little shinier than the others. And in December, when it started, and I don't think any of you got December because it was partway through the month when I asked her about it, and she set it up right away. And I got two in December because I purposely ordered two different bases because I wanted to do a little comparison to see how close the colors would be for the same color, but on different bases. Now, these are somewhat similar, but this is 100% merino, superfine fingering. Now, to me, this one is a little heavier than the others, and definitely you can see the ply. See that it has texture, but that's the color. Good color for December. And I got a second one, and this one was on, I call it Nebs. Sometimes it comes on Donegal, but hers is, it's called More Christmas, and it's wool, 80% wool, 20% viscose. So you see the speckles in it, but the color is remarkably similar, probably because there's a lot of merino in both. Who knows what it would look like if I'd gotten it on silk or something different. Or maybe if I gotten it, I always see a lot of dyers when you put it on DK or worsted, it takes the dye differently than fingering. Somehow they're brighter. But these are the month 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months and 6 bases. Now, I like this, and I particularly like it in this colorway. I think this Nebs, or viscose as it's called, goes very well with these colors. So I will find something that is good for what I call a tweed. This one is not as, doesn't pull me as much. And I think it's because of the heavy texture. So I'm not sure about that one. And I won't order a lot of Nebs. I just like it once in a while for a change. So let's look at these 4. This one is the silk one. Actually, it has cashmere and silk. This one is the straight merino nylon. This is merino and yak. And this last one is merino and cashmere. Now, let's bring up this merino yak. This merino yak silk, it doesn't feel a whole lot different than the merino nylon. So if I were to choose again, I don't think I would choose this one again. You pay more for yak and silk than you do for plain merino nylon. About $5 a hank more. Nothing against it, but I mean, for the extra money, I'm just as happy with this one. Okay, so I would continue on with the merino and nylon. Now, let's compare to this one. Now, this one also is a more expensive one. The yak, the cashmere, and the silk are all yarns that are a little bit more. This one is the base price. I think this is 32 Canadian, and these are either 36 or 37. Well, I have to tell you once again, this one feels nicer with the cashmere and nylon in it than the one with yak and silk, which is a surprise to me. Nothing, I'm not saying anything wrong with any of these. It's just that one is, you know, more luxurious feeling than the other. I mean, when you compare them, there's definitely more. So, like I said, I probably wouldn't spend the extra for yak. If I want to get something for the base price, I would get this. Okay, merino nylon. It's perfectly good. It feels as good as any yarn out there. And it feels plush, and I'm happy with it. Now, if you're willing to spend a little bit more for these, then you would have these two to choose. Now, again, this is cashmere and silk, and this is cashmere and nylon, and this is cashmere and silk. Well, guess what? I would choose this one first over all of them. Over all of them, this is the nicer feeling yarn. This is great. It's better than plain merino nylon. And if I don't want to spend a lot of money, I like the merino nylon. But if I'm willing to spend a little bit more, that's good. But this is better. It's very silky. Cashmere and silk. The silk wins out. And you know what? I really love that color. So I hope this helps you. Maybe if you decide to buy from her, she does have a lot of different choices. She also has one that I thought I had ordered, but I didn't. And it's merino, cashmere, and stellina. You know, I like my stellina, the sparkles. But I'm hoping that helps you know a little bit more about her different bases. And next month, I'm going to order the silk again because I really, really like the silk. So that is, show you once again, the color of my fiber, and it's in French and English. She is in Quebec, actually. I think she's right in Montreal or Montreal area. What always surprises me is she spells color and fiber the American way. Canadians spell both of those words different than the American. Actually, I should say the Americans spell it different than us because we spell it the way the rest of the world does, especially England. So anyhow, there is, and again, I'll just link her store or her page, and you can check out the various colors. The very first listing is the mystery skein for the month, but now it's not a mystery if you've been watching. All right, that's the one main thing I wanted to talk to you about today. Now, I have one other thing, and I'm hoping in the end this video is, it's already getting longer than I thought, but I want to keep it shorter than last week. That was far too long. But anyway, the next thing I want to talk to you about is Gary. If you don't know Gary from Urban Yarn, I will link his channel below, and I'll specifically link the video that I'm going to reference today. Gary is doing a mal, and it involves a mood board. Now, he did one at the first of the year, and I didn't participate. I have a little problem with what to do, how to come up with a mood board. So I didn't participate. But this time, he's doing one with music. Use a song and come up with a mood board. Well, I know you don't know a lot about my background, but music has been part of my life since I was 7 years old. I have always been involved in music one way or the other, and I'm not going into specifics. So finding a song, well, I mean, I just like so many songs, and I have a wide I have very eclectic taste. It's all over the board, although I don't like a lot of the more modern stuff. So it wasn't hard for me to choose a song. There was one came to mind right away. Well, there were two, but we have to pick one. And I said I wasn't going to do it because it's a very busy month. But I think I've got a handle on what had to get done this month. And I was watching him again, and I was watching, oh, I know what happened. I watched Linan, she's doing it, and she's talked about it a couple times, and I watched Crystal, who has just really discovered EFA and has been talking about their yarns and is really happy because they curate yarns in a package because she has trouble choosing colors. And I don't know, it got me enthused. So I decided, you know what, I think I do have time. I've done a 180 and decided I am going to do it. And I think I'm ready to get started on it right away so I can have it done before the end of April, and I can put that pink shawl off. There isn't a deadline for it. So I decided to put together a mood board and try to pick yarn. And I think I was meant to do this because wait till you hear about all of these things. First of all, of the two I picked, of the two that came to mind, I decided I wanted to focus on the song Memories. Now, there are more than one Memories out there. I am a big fan of Barbra Streisand, and I watched the movie The Wee We Were, I don't know how many times, 3, 4, I don't know. It came out when I was in university, and I loved the movie, and I loved the song, And the lyrics that came to mind, and I'll try to say them, I don't want to sing for you, but it's the line that says, misty watered color memories of the way we were. So that really helped me in doing a mood board, because I went to get a picture of the way we were. By the way, Barbra Streisand and Robert Redford are the stars. I don't know who wrote the song. I will have to go and look that up, but we know who sang it. And when you look up, there's a couple of pictures from that movie, but the album or the movie cover shows the two of them walking on a beach. Well, this also resonates with me, because I think my favorite place in the world to be would be on a lounge on the beach, listening to the water come and go. I could be there forever on the beach. I could live on the beach listening to the water. I just love it. So I thought, oh, this is perfect for me. So I have that picture of them on the beach, and I went looking for other pictures that made me think water or beach or memories. And when I think memories, I think old photos, that kind of thing. So I have made up 2 mood boards, and I'm going to show them both to you. I'm going to start with one, and while I'm talking, I'll switch to the other. I think one looks better than the other. The second one I made up, things don't fit as well, but I love the frame. I'll show it. I love the frame of the pictures that make me think memory, but maybe the first picture is a better choice. But anyway, those are the 2 mood boards I've come up with. Tell me if you like number 1 with the blue background, or number 2 with the photos making a frame. Which do you like better? And I'll look at it again and again. But anyway, I did put something together as a mood board. I'm not good at that part. Then I went thinking, okay, what about yarn? And my first place to start is EFA. So I'm on Expressions Fiber Arts site and looking for preferably fingering yarn. And I went into their kits. I thought I was there, I think, because of Crystal's kit, and I would have liked to have gotten that kit. But anyway, I come across a kit that is called Bygone Hues. Bygone, I thought it said bygone years, but it doesn't. Bygone Hues. And it is a buttery sport yarns, 100% superwash merino. Now I'm first going to put in the picture that I saw on EFA. Again, has the water in the background. And here is, oh, and I had to order it. And I was worried because, you know, it takes time to get here from Expression Fiber Arts, but I ordered it right at the very end of March, 1st of April. And I've been watching the, they sent it almost right away. Well, they had it in stock, so I knew it would get shipped in a couple of days. And I've been watching the tracking information right up to this morning. I'm looking at the tracking, and it was, today's the 9th, I believe. And it shows that it got to New York, and it's been sitting in New York for a week. And I thought, oh, please get that yarn moving. I needed to get here at least within the next week to give me a couple of weeks to get this done. Well, guess what? On my way out the door today, after checking it first thing this morning, there's the yarn in my mailbox. And here it is. Now, I'm going to open it up. I kept it together all in one. But I'm going to open it, and the I'll talk about the pattern in a minute, but I don't think I need all this yarn. I want to open it. Oh, you know what? It's got a rip, so the bags isn't good to anybody. I saved my bags for my girlfriend, but this one's ripped. Okay, I have decided that I probably will not use this darker color. I don't need, there's 1,500. Oh no, sorry. Yeah, 1,500 yards, 1,370 meters, 1,500 yards, because there's 250 yards in each one of these. Well, I won't need this, and gray is a great neutral. I'll just put it aside for later. I have never had buttery sport, so it feels nice, that's for sure. And it's one of those textured yarns. I'm sure you can see the texture up here. And of course, it's a little bit heavier than fingering, but one of my fingerings over there is almost as heavy as this. Sport isn't that much heavier. So I'm going to use, there's the blue of the water, there's the brown from the, you know, like sepia tone pictures, and then there's this cream. I'm thinking I might do it this way. Put that one there. What do you think? And this looks like sand as well. Now, okay, so the yarn is called Bygone Hues. So then the next thing is we got to find a pattern. So I'm thinking, what am I going to make? It's a fair bit of yarn. I would like to make a shawl. Something doesn't click in my mind. Buttery Sport, 1,500 yards. These must have more on them than I thought. They must have 375. I'll have to look that up, but 1,500. Oh, divided by, okay, it's 300 yards, because there are 5 of them, 300 yards in each. Well, even if I only do the 4, I'm going to have 1,200 yards. And I found a pattern that says between 980 and 1,100. Of course, that's fingering. I don't think I'll need as much of these. I'll just decide as I'm going when to cut each color off. But anyway, I went looking for a pattern. And you'll get it. I think this was meant to be. I finally found a shawl that I like. Now it is done in fingering, and I'm going to do it in sport. And the shawl, I think I have a picture of it I can put up here, is called Subtle Waves Shawl. To me, that just spoke to me. There's water again. The water. And the bygone, the memories in the water. So I was meant to do this project. So it's Subtle Waves Shawl, and the pattern is by Sarah Kennedy. It's a paid for pattern on Ravelry. I haven't bought it yet. I've just put it in my my queue, and I'm hoping to start it. Well, I probably could start it tonight, but I'm trying to, I haven't tanked them up. I might work on my pink one tonight, and then tomorrow or the next day get these hanked up and get started on them in that shawl. Do you think they'll look good in that shawl? I don't know. I'm going to start with this color at the top, because you know blue is one of my favorites, and I want that at the neck. And then I think I'll do that next, and then these sandy taupey colors. They aren't quite my color, but oh, there's some green in it. Look at that. There's some green in it. No green in that one. Okay. Interesting. They always look different when you hank them up. So we'll see how that looks. So there we go. There's what I'm going to do for Gary's mood board mal. And I'm quite happy and excited to get busy on it, and I will get it done hopefully in the next week to show you next week. So that's all I have to show you. Lots and lots of yarn to look at this week. Next week, I am going to start on charts. I had enough people interested in seeing a tutorial on charts. So I've been doing a little bit of checking to see what I will do. And I don't want to make a really long, boring tutorial. I think it's too much to take in at once. So I've decided I'm going to cut it up into segments. Now, first of all, I have to see if it's going to work. I may come back to you next week and say I wasn't able to do a tutorial, but I'm pretty sure I can do, but I want to do it in segments. I thought I would start one week and show you the basics of chart reading and just some straight rows of reading charts so you can maybe try it out on something simple, maybe a scarf or something. And then I thought I would show you like granny squares, but not just a granny square. There are hundreds and hundreds of different patterns and ways to make a granny square, and I thought I would focus on that the next week. And then maybe a third week where I look at a number of charts for shawls. Now I'm taking all these patterns either out of Yarnspiration or Pinterest. So these are charts that are out there in the public domain. I'm not worrying about breaking any copyrights. I will not show you any kind of chart from a paid for pattern. And we'll talk more about charts over the next 2 or 3 weeks. But I will only do it as a small segment in my weekly video. I will not do a whole long, 45-minute video about reading charts. That's too much. I'm hoping I can do 3, maybe 15 or 20-minute segments and then do other stuff as well. So that's the plan as it stands right now. I hope I can make it all work, and I hope you'll be back to see more next week. Until then, happy hooking.